Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm Mou Mukherjee. I'm the head of the registry at .cloud. I'm very happy to be here today. And I'll be sharing some tips for naming your next big idea. So hopefully you'll be able to walk away from here with a few ideas that you can use the next time you have a new business venture, new startup, new idea. As a marketer for a TLD, I spend a lot of time thinking about naming. And not only that, but I come across a lot of great examples. A lot of our customers have really had some really great creative examples that they've used. So our customers are a big source of inspiration for me. Naming your business could be the most important marketing decision that you make. So I want to give you some ideas to think about it. Just a quick introduction for .cloud because we have not this is actually our first time in India, so I want to give you a little bit of an introduction. .cloud is a new GTLD. It launched in February of 2016. We currently have 155 registrations in 180 countries. It's actually owned and operated by an Italian company. It's the Italian company called Aruba, and they're the market leader for data center hosting and cloud email. And at the moment, we're actually focusing a lot on the Asian market. We actually just obtained our Chinese license, so just a few days ago, so that's a market that we're entering. And really our goal is to be a completely global domain name. Also, when you think of .cloud, you'll think it's a natural choice for the cloud business, but it's actually much more than that. A lot of our customers are innovative, they're creative, and they're not afraid of choosing a modern domain that sort of says, we're leading the future. So it's a smart domain for modern business. So there's just an interesting statistics. It's based in the US, but there's 540,000 new business owners each month that is launching their venture. So there is a lot of competition for a great domain name. At the same time, the landscape has changed a bit in the TLD. I mean, there's .com and .net, there's the country, and then of course the new GTLD. So even though it seems like there's a lot of competition and all the great ones are taken, there is still space to find a new domain, and obviously new GTLDs is one place where you can find it. The problem is a lot of people don't spend enough time thinking about it. It's kind of the last thing that they do or whatever is presented to them, and that's a bit of a mistake. It seems sometimes the name was an afterthought. And the business name, it's your brand name. It's your online identity. And it's also one of the most important digital assets that you're going to own, and hopefully for a long time, a successful business. So taking a bit of time to think about this is really important. And I'm going to give you some ideas on how to do that. This is just another interesting statistic about India. You've probably come across it, but the role of the SMB, it's really the backbone of the country. There's 51 million small, medium businesses in India, and only 32 of them have an online presence. So this could also be just a Facebook account. So this means that there is a lot of opportunity to help companies come online. And the domain name is where it starts. So whether you're choosing a name for yourself or you're helping somebody else come up with a name, there's a lot of opportunity to find a great name. So one thing to remember is that a lot of people hear your business name before they even know what you're doing. It's basically the front door of your business. Oftentimes, you have a very short amount of time to get people's attention. So it's really important to be unique, something that stands out. You want to avoid complexity. You want to go with something short if you can. You want to avoid some of these things. Difficult names, something that is difficult to spell, pronounce, remember, Another one is being too local. I know a lot of companies who go with the local, and a few years later, it doesn't work for them anymore because they have expanded their business to global. And I have some examples of this as well. Being too long, this is an obvious one. But a lot of times what people do is they cut a letter or they go with an odd spelling. Not to say that never works, but sometimes that can also be confusing for the end user. But really the most important thing is getting a domain that you like. Because this is your domain. Like I said, it's the front door to your business or your idea. So no matter what, be creative. Take some time to create something unique and special that you're going to love using as your business name. So where do you start? So the first thing to do is really to brainstorm. Brainstorm different ideas, names. There's a lot of tools you can use to do this, but one of them, you can go to Google, you can look for keyword trends, you can look for popular names, but that's a really great place to just start because you just want to get your mind thinking. Another great place is dictionaries. And this one example here, OneLook, actually, if you put a name in there, like we've put sky, asterisks, you can actually see phrases. And all this does is just give you ideas on how to expand on sky. So here you can see different examples. And again, at this point, I would just sort of open your mind. You don't have to narrow things down. The sources are great because they're word association. So you can go and find associations and links for your domain, so it's just another idea. The other one is name generators. So it might sound a little weird to have a baby name generator there, but the interesting thing is there's now a trend for companies and startups to have an actual name as their business. So there's actually a company called Clio. That is for working parents. There's another one called Morty. Morty is for mortgages. There's one called Fritz, which is machine learning. And there's one called Bud. So Bud is for the financial industry. So this is just interesting. It's a little bit more personal. This is something that's trending in North America and some other places. So name generators, there's different ones, but they can also kind of give juxtapositions of names, so this will be another creative way that you can look for some ideas. So now you've done some creative thinking, you probably have some ideas now on your business name. The next thing is to do some practical work. And part of the reason here is to kind of mitigate any risk you might have with your domain name. So you kind of want to go down some of this checklist and see how you're doing. One of the things you can look at is cultural sensitivity, because you may be alienating a whole part of your industry just because you have a word that's negative or offensive. So definitely that's something you should consider. Urban Dictionary is something, you can go in there and see what is the association with your word. Trademarks is obviously important. You should check with your local trademark agency. You want to avoid any legal issues down the road. Another place is to kind of check whether this domain is available. So in the early stages, I have a Hover here, which is a place where you can look for domain names. There's a lot of new GTLDs here. For example, our friends at Radix, you can see they have an example here, skyblue.online. I mean, that could be a great name for somebody's business. You also want to look at the competition. You want to see what they're doing. You want to see if your competition has taken a business name and have they turned it into a brand. Because a lot of people, they have a name, but it doesn't quite work as a brand. So this is where you can go and see what your competition is doing. Are you different? Do you stand out? Is it too similar? So that's another place where you can check how you're doing. For some people, the premium and aftermarket is another great place. Obviously, that requires some budget. And if you, I think Crystal Peterson talked earlier today about this kind of information, but that's also, so I've known a lot of people who've gotten a perfect domain in the aftermarket. Then the last thing you want to do is also the social media profile. I mean, you've now got a name, and now what if you're starting a business and social media is also very important these days, and everything's gone. So it's kind of a good idea to go, and there's a tool here called NameCheck. You don't have to check all of those. I would pick the priorities. What is your priority? You can choose one or two. And if it's available, just go ahead and reserve it. The next thing is to test and get feedback. And actually, this is a really fun step. Sometimes we want to skip it because we love our name so much. But probably at this point, you have narrowed it down to one or two. And this is where you can go out to your colleagues, your coworkers. You can ask your friends. You can ask trusted business partners, too. And you can get their opinion on it. I once worked for a digital marketing agency, and we rebranded our agency. And we actually showed our top clients the brand and the name even before it was finalized. And part of it was to check we were on the right path. But the other one was really interesting because they felt that they were part of the process, and collaborating with your top customers, asking for their feedback. It's a great way to bring them into the process. And then when your brand does come out, they'll also feel like they were part of the process. So it's something sometimes we don't want to share, but in fact it can be a great way to build relationships with your top partners and customers. As well, you can go out to your target audience as well. You can use surveys. You can ask them questions. You can ask them, what does this name mean to you? What is the idea that comes to mind? Is it reputable? Is it memorable? So if you have, say, you've narrowed it down to two names, this is a great way to test and see what your audience thinks of the name. So here, this is my favorite part because these are all of our customers, and I can kind of show you, some different ideas of what people have done. So Fashion.Cloud was a startup. It was a great name. Their brand was actually Fashion.Cloud. They're a German company, and what they do is they take assets from all the brands, and they have built like a content management system, and then they provide that to the retailers. So now retailers can go to one place and get all the marketing material for each of the brands. So it's a kind of a platform for the fashion industry. So Fashion.Cloud, perfect for them. Rio.Cloud is actually Volkswagen's logistic and transportation cloud. So this is their part of their initiative for digitalization. So they went with a three-letter. Their product was called Rio Cloud, so it just made sense for them to get Rio.Cloud. So it was a great three-letter domain for them. Edu.Cloud, that's actually an Italian robotics company. They actually have a commercial market, but this particular robot is more for consumers. So they wanted to have a place where consumers could have a community. So cloud can also mean community. So they loved another great three-letter domain, edu.cloud. Food.Cloud was also a startup, and actually their domain before we met them was foodcloud.ie. They were an Irish company, and this is an example where I was saying that their business was going to be in Ireland, but as they were expanding, they now needed a more global domain, and we were just really fortunate enough to find them. They're a social enterprise, so they take leftover food from all of the grocery stores, and they have a way to give it to charity, all using technology. So Food Cloud was a great name for them. We have SAP Analytics, which you probably all know. So they are using software as a service, cloud platform. And the last one is also quite interesting. You may have come across Daddy.Cloud, but it's basically a new way of cloud. It's a decentralized cloud. So it's just starting out, so the idea will take some time. But I think they've done a really interesting job with their marketing, their brand. Check them out on Twitter. You'll find them on Twitter, and check out their website. It's a really great example. So, your business name, it can sometimes make or break your business because, especially at the early stages, because you really need to get engagement from your customers. And your name is, like I said, it's your front door. So spending a little bit of time and thinking about some ideas and going through these steps, can ensure that you have a great name. And your next big idea deserves a fantastic name. So here are the steps you can follow the next time you have an idea. And that's it. Please visit our booth. We're here with OpenSRS. We're here with Sanjeev. So please come there. This is my Twitter handle, my email, so you can email me any questions as well. We also have a little giveaway at our booth. So if you want to come down afterwards, you can come in and grab that. So do we have any questions? All right. Maybe we want to get on to the next part of the show then. Thank you very much. And again, feel free to come visit our booth and send me your questions. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay.